tell us, who is Eulan Brown? This guy, seems like maybe some youngsters were making fun of this guy who kept wrecking his bike and spilling his papers everywhere.
Yeah, so Eulan had a muscular disease, and he lived in our little town of Reynolds, Georgia, which is in middle Georgia, halfway between Macon and Columbus, Georgia. And he was 15 years older than me. I used to say that, and then I really went to his grave, and he is 50. You can find his grave on findagrave.com because I made sure it was on there. But he's almost exactly 15 years older than me. But he delivered grit papers on his bicycle, and a lot of people don't know what that is, but people from the South will, especially my age. They were a nickel a piece or something, a lot of ads, but he delivered them on his bicycle. And if you saw him riding his bicycle, you would think he was drunk because of his muscular situation. And if you saw him walking, he staggered. And the problem is, my mental picture of Eulan was he was always in the ditch. And his grit papers were always strewn out all over the road, and he was always gathering his papers back up so he could get them in the basket and get on down the road. I mean, I seen flat-footed, fanny on the ground, gathering his papers back up. That's the mental picture. So we made fun of Eulan. Me and my buddies, we would come up behind him on our bikes, and we would boo him, and he'd look, and he'd wreck. We would laugh, and we'd go on down the road. We'd have spend-the-night parties sometimes, and you know how you do when you're kids, and somebody say, Eulan's looking in the window. Eulan had a distorted face. I mean, he almost looked like a monster as a kid. And you say, Eulan's looking in the window. He wasn't, but we would say that. Everybody would run and hide. And one day, I don't know, I was 11 or 12 years old. I'm up at this little store. Man owned it, cooked hamburgers, had this little counter. And I'm eating the hamburger. I had my bicycle on the sidewalk, and Eulan walks in. I didn't have my buddies with me. And Eulan came and sat down next to me, and I was thinking, I need to get out of here. This guy's going to jerk my head off because he probably knew I'd been making fun of him, and I saw him as a monster, and I was trying to get up and to leave. Before I could do that, he called me by name. He knew my dad's name. He knew my mom's name. He knew my two brothers' name, my sister's name. He knew what was going on in our lives. And I remember as a kid how impacted I was. I was thinking, this is a normal human being. And whatever I thought about Eulan Brown, I was wrong. And that day, a couple of things happened. I left there, and I got on my bicycle. And I remember I never laughed at Eulan Brown again, I can tell you that. And the second thing I remember, and it was, I don't know, a couple of weeks after that maybe, I'm riding down the road on my bike, and I see Eulan's bicycle wreck, papers everywhere. It was a normal occurrence. And for the first time in my life, I stopped. And I helped him get his papers back in the basket so he could get on down the road. And I'll tell you, I never forgot Eulan Brown. I thought about Eulan Brown 10,000 times in my life until finally I wrote a book called The Legacy of Eulan Brown. But I didn't know it when I was 11 years old or 12 years old. But there was going to be many times in my life that I was going to find myself in the ditch. And I would always have two choices. Eulan Brown didn't know what the word quit was. He never occurred to him when he wrecked that he was going to be through and just walk away. He was always gathering his papers back up, get them in the basket, and get on down the road. And I realized I would have two choices in life. I could lie in the ditch when I found myself in the ditch and mully grub and complain and blame everybody else for my plight in life, or I could gather my papers back up and get them in the basket and get on down the road. We got two choices. We don't have three choices. We don't have one choice. You got two. You're going to find yourself in the ditch. Sometimes we're in the ditch because we do stupid stuff. You know, you go stick a fork in an electrical outlet, you're going to be in a ditch of electrocution. I mean, that's stupid. You get suffer the consequences for what you do. Sometimes we're in the ditch because somebody in our life has done stupid stuff and we're sucked in with them. And sometimes we're in the ditch and nobody's done anything. It's just people get sick, people die. We just find ourselves in the ditch. The question is not if we find ourselves in the ditch. That's not the question. You're going to find yourself in the ditch. The question is, do you make the right ditch choices?